Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Imagine an 8-year-old girl making up her mind on what to become in life and living up to it till adult life. That is the story of Professor Rose-Margaret Ekeng-Itua. Her childhood ambition has earned her the first position among Black women to have a PhD in cybernetics globally. Welcome to Amazing Africans. I am Kelly Egiga.
Schoolgirls and boys who would have enjoyed their playtime in peace. But race, color, and gender chose to play a role. And so, if your hair is black, you may not have a place on their playground. Those were the experiences of young Rose-Margaret during her elementary school education in Bern, Switzerland. Rather than let them weigh her down, she chose to make a tonic of them to correct certain narration against color, race, and gender, and that in spite of a young age of 8 years. Her plan at that age was to create platforms that will connect the world in fostering global unity for progress and appreciate other cultures.
One of the most remarkable experiences that I had that really motivated me to pursue engineering was when I think I was 9 or 8 years old. And we lived in a country where there weren't many people that looked like me or my sisters. And we went to a school where we were pretty much the only Black kids. And it was interesting, the kids there innocently were asking us questions about Africa, of whether people live on trees in Africa, etc. And then at that point, I was like, wow, people really do not have an understanding of other cultures and other places around the world. And at the age of 8 or 9, I had this dream to create systems where people could communicate together and understand each other's cultures and get rid of stereotypical fallacies regarding cultures.
When she was 10 years old, her parents insisted she return to her African roots to learn the Efik culture. That decision took her to Charles Walker International Nursery and Primary School, Calabar, the Cross River State capital, where she completed the years of elementary school. She had to start from primary 4 because she could speak better Swiss German than English language. That decision to return to her roots was one she was grateful for. And for the first time in her life, she didn't need to apologize for being Black. That experience strengthened her self-confidence and self-belief.
Professor Rose-Margaret, incidentally, was under my mentorship in the post-nursery school, which is primary school. Right from day one, Professor Rose-Margaret exhibited some level of maturity as a young growing up girl. And she had this incredible and penchant way of wanting to learn, wanting to read. And I discovered that she was somebody that is not from this clime. She became so interested in both the sciences and the arts, particularly the discussions on sciences, on technology, engineering, mathematics, name it. And even in the arts, she excelled very well. So when we presented her with others to go for what we call the first school living certificate, we're not surprised when she came up tops. In fact, she scored the best result
then in the state.
Good morning, students.
Her zest and hunger for knowledge did not simmer down when she gained admission to the Federal Government Girls College, Calabar, for her secondary school education. Like in her primary school, she also excelled, rising to become the senior prefect in the school, which she graduated from in 1993.
I knew Rose-Margaret in GS1. We're best friends from GS1. And Rose-Margaret has always been serious about life from when we were very young, So, but I think we didn't really enjoy secondary school. Well, we did, but me with Margaret's friend had classic words like, ladies should have integrity. And we're 12, by the way, ladies should have integrity. Ladies should stand up for excellence. We was able to, we didn't know it as competing with guys. All we knew was that if you have this gift, then you must definitely be the best that you can with what you have been given. So that was Rose-Margaret. And the rare combination of hardworking students and fun person, it can be very rare, to see that in someone so studious. And yet she has this very buoyant laugh, has this zest about life, all at the same time. It's rare, but she had it.
One of the reasons I pursued engineering too was just because I really loved math and also enjoyed physics, especially the electromagnetism aspect of physics and optics. I just couldn't get enough of it. So at that early age in high school, I wanted to learn more about the electromagnetic spectrum and how to manipulate electromagnetic signals for social impact. And that's how I pursued electrical electronics engineering, and in particular telecommunications, so we could learn how to manipulate electromagnetic signals in a positive way for social justice and social impact.
When a year after, she got admitted to the Federal University of Technology, Owerri in Imo State, southeast Nigeria, it was to meet another shocker. In her class of about 180 students, only about 3% of that number were women.
In my class, my engineering class, undergrad, we were, I think, about 6-7 girls out of 180 men in the class. And I think at that point, I was inspired to really be an advocate, to have more women in the STEM field or in engineering in particular. And in my undergrad, I think I only had one female professor. And I was lucky to have one female professor, because you'll hear some stories and there's no female professor. And I know the impact she had in my life. And even till today, we're still in touch, how many years after? And she's still a mentor to me. And I also support the work that she does. And so I think at that point in time, I really wanted to create an environment where women will be comfortable in engineering, and started creating various initiatives, joining different organizations that would give me the platform to advocate.
She's been the type that has set her goals very high, and she pursues them with all the strength she can put in. She has always been like that. Even while we were in school, she never turned back to any challenge. She has always squarely faced it, looked at it in the eye, and made sure she achieved what she has planned to achieve. She never will anytime back out. I remember sometimes we in school, because she's my reading mate, we spend some time to study together. We have the peer reviews that we, normally do, after classes. So sometimes she come out of class and we say, hey, I don't understand anything this guy said over this topic. I don't understand. So he said, okay, don't worry. We'll go into class sometime in the night, get some of the journals, the textbooks, and also the handouts, and then we'll put ourselves together and see how we can explain this to ourselves. And even before the time we have assigned that we will go out, she has come to my door and say, hey, it's time, let's go. It's 11 p.m., let's go. Come on. The class will say, come on, let's go. Let's do it now that we are still awake, and then we can get these things done. So she pursues her cause without any fear of failure. She makes sure she tries to reach out and get the things that needs to be done without looking back.
In ancient African history, fighting wars was not an exclusive of men. Women were known to also have fought in defense of their land. History has also shown how African women have managed the affairs of their lands. From Queen of Sheba, who ruled Ethiopia, Egypt, and Nigeria, to Queen Amina, a warrior and ruler of Zaria in modern-day Kaduna in Nigeria, to Queen Ya Asantewa of Ghana, to Empress Zidutu of Ethiopia, and Queen Ndate of Senegal, and then Queen Nzinga of Angola. And there were valiant women who, though were not empress, but fought for their people. Such women like Madam Olufumilayo Ransom Kuti of Egba land in modern-time Ogun State. History has it that she fought against the repressive regime on policies that were hostile to women, forcing the then traditional ruler of Egba land to go on exile.
These women are tired. The colonial government, in cohort with the Egba administration, we're taking advantage of them. The past is abhorrent, and we therefore we will not end this protest until we are listened to.
These were the kind of people, her mother inclusive, who inspired Rose-Margaret.
I also have people that I look up to as coaches and sponsors. But I think just the story of Africa, the story of our ancestors generally is inspiration to me, especially as a Black woman or as a woman, because in Africa, indigenous African tradition, we had women kings, we had women warriors, Queen Amina of Zaria. I mean, I could name lots and lots of women icons. And so it gives me confidence when I look at these great women that were not intimidated because of their gender, they were not intimidated because of their race. All that mattered to them was to make an impact.
After her Master of Science degree in Mobile and Satellite Communication Engineering from the University of Surrey, Guildford, United Kingdom, she followed it up with a PhD in Cybernetics from the University of Reading, also in the United Kingdom. Unknown to her at first, she had mapped her name in world history as the first Black woman to do so.
Proud, very, very proud, but not surprised, to be honest. When you have I had the gift of being Rose-Margaret's friend as a child. And I really thank God that the world opened up for her, and opportunities to have her ideas respected, nourished, and expounded. When I saw her TED talk, I called her and I was excited. And I said, "This is you." And she spoke about the unknown unknowns, I was like, Rose-Margaret is painting the world, painting the canvas of the world in her own colors, When we were in school then, there was actually a firm separation, of, we say, the best of them all, and she was one of those. And when she went to Futo, I prayed and I was like, I hope they find out how great she is. So when she went abroad and this happened, I wasn't really shocked. I was just like, in due time, because Rose-Margaret is dedicated, to her love for the sciences, It's the way you drive a car is how you would compare how Rose-Margaret sees the sciences.
Excellent. She was very open to social life. She, at the time called me and said, "Hey, I want to go in for the vice president of National Association of EBBO students." She's from Cross River State. And I said, "Wow, that's good." She said, "Yeah, we don't only just pass through the school, we allow the school to pass through us so that our names can be written in gold, right?" And she went for that election and she won. She became the vice president while, we were still in school. So she had that side of her. She was also a sociable person. She, attended some gatherings and all that. So that's good.
Engineer Professor Rose-Margaret has been eloquent on why many technology and laboratory procedure are not gender sensitive.
talking more about like women in STEM and engineering and just how we can really creating a more inclusive environment for women and girls in engineering. Some of the things that I have put out there for us to start looking into changing, even in industry and academia, are overalls. Sometimes overalls were just indigenous, initially just made for men, but then we have women in the field and they're wearing overalls that really do not fit the body anatomy of the woman. We've got the settings in lab spaces that are very machismo. It is important that we also try to include the concept of women using lab spaces, and so change the layout of lab spaces in engineering generally, whether it's in academia or in industry. We've been trying to do that here to ensure that we have lab activities that are inclusive of women, our lab spaces are inclusive of women, and also one of the things that Sabi Africa Network is doing is creating curriculum that we can use in the science, technology, engineering spaces in K-12 and higher education, so that our science experiments will be inclusive. For example, the standard static experiment is a physics experiment. You take a balloon, rub it and the static on your head, and then your hair is meant to raise up. Well, that will work for a Caucasian kid, but for a Black kid like my children, it didn't work.
In spite of her deep love for the sciences, she's also familiar with the history of Africa and the people whom she's continued to applaud for their innovation and creativity in science and technology.
Research has shown that Africa and indigenous African science, technology, engineering is the pioneering technologies of the world when we talk about this particular field, and other indigenous technologies too. So I just talked to you about the clay pot, that is one. Then I talked to you about the mud houses. In Africa, homes were built with mud and thatched roof. That was looked at as a cake and unsophisticated. But well, turns out now we're going back to that technology. Just here in the Bay Area, there's a company that is 3D printing mud bricks because that technology is eco-friendly. That technology is supports climate resiliency. And with those mud houses, we do not need air conditioning. Because they kept the home school, and at the end of its lifespan, it will just biodegrade into the earth. Turns out that using cement is one of the biggest contributors to the depletion of the ozone layer, using cement in building buildings. And so now Sabi Africa Network is creating that awareness that we've got to have a paradigm shift and embrace indigenous technologies if we really want to solve the climate issues that we're facing right now.
It is to take this assignment on Africa further that she founded Sabi Africa Network. With presence in a number of countries on the continent, the organization sets to retell the narration of Africa's exploits in science, engineering, and technology vis-à-vis its enormous scientific and technological heritage.
To innovate ethically, sustainably, and in a trustworthy manner, because African science and technology is indeed ethical, sustainable, and trustworthy.
She's also the founder of African Technology and Innovation Institutes, whose target is to solve Africa's challenges through the knowledge of tech courses taught to its youth population. Sometime in June 2024, in partnership with the Cross River State Government of Nigeria, African Technology and Innovation Institutes organized a Skill Up program for youth in Nigeria. Work is also ongoing at the African Center for Artificial Intelligence in Kenya. The aim of all these and other trainings and interventions on the continent is to meet the goal of training 10,000 African youth in the field of artificial intelligence before the year 2030. Beside these, she's joined different organizations to get the platform needed to spread her idea and passion, one of them the Society of Women Engineers. While these are on, Work is also in knowledge sharing, an investment she's been involved in for more than 20 years now.
If we look at the data, we can see that Nigeria falls far behind some other African countries.
It was first at Tranta International AB, where she served both as the systems engineer and an instructor for the first ever Microsoft solution provider in West Africa. She developed electrical and telecommunication engineering designs to support installation and deployment of computer networks. She would later move to Hugh Farringdon School in Reading, England, where she was an expert teacher in special education needs. Her first university lecturing job was at the University of West London, where she was a chair, a program leader, and a senior lecturer in engineering. That was in 2004.
Yeah, this is our smart factory.
When she moved to the University of California, Berkeley in the United States of America, it was as a visiting research fellow.
Now we will have the message from the faculty provided by Dr. Rose-Margaret Ekeng-Itua.
She's now a professor of engineering at Olone College, Fremont, California in the United States, an institution she joined in 2013 as an associate professor of engineering and a lead faculty. She's their principal investigator for the National Science Foundation Advanced Technological Education Grant for Smart Advanced Manufacturing Education in the Silicon Valley. She also oversees a number of apprenticeship and internship projects for engineering and advanced manufacturing in the Silicon Valley region.
Dr. Eric Bishop, esteemed Board of Trustee members, my esteemed colleagues, the Olone College faculty, the amazing Olone College Faculty Senate Executive Committee, Olone College staff and administrators, family and friends of the graduates, and of course, the protagonists of this graduation story.
Her commitment to her students' growth facilitated her launching some academia collaborative initiatives with Fortune 500 companies like Vodafone, Orange, T-Mobile, Tesla, Scottish Energy, London Underground, Thames Water, and Ericsson. The scholar is the first black female professor to lead her students to winning the National Science Foundation NSF/CC National Technology Innovations Competition in the USA, a feat which earned her and her students an invitation to the US White House and Congress to talk about their technology innovations.
I believe in you more than
it goes the other way.
You ready? Everybody ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Go!
Professor Rose-Margaret is also the founding program lead of Olone College Smart Manufacturing Technology Program, which early in 2024 collaborated with Tesla to expand the Electric Automakers Employee Education Assistance EEA program. The program is meant to help upskill Tesla workers in smart manufacturing. Her love for mathematics and science compares to that of Benjamin Banneker, first African-American scientist who was one of her mentors. Banneker had in 1791 sent Thomas Jefferson a letter and the first copy of the Annual Almanac, which he began to publish. In the letter, he had asked Jefferson to embrace every opportunity to eradicate the train of absurd and false ideas and opinions which cast prejudice against black people. That was about a decade before Jefferson became President of the United States of America. Banneker's assignment is what Rose-Margaret has continued to prosecute, but extended beyond color and race to now include gender. She's not all about books, curiosity, and technological innovation. She's equally done well in leadership and governance since her days as the senior prefect at the Federal Government Girls College, Calabar, Nigeria. She was once the vice president of a statewide students' association. In the United States, she is a commissioner on the Economic Development Advisory Board for the city of Fremont, California, and an appointee of the California State Senate Rules Committee for the Associate Degree for Transfer into Segmental Implementation Committee. In the Society of Women Engineers, she served as an FY21 Special Director on the Board of Directors, FY21 Africa Task Force Board Liaison, FY20 President of the Mount Diablo Section, and the founding lead for the African American Affinity Group and founding faculty advisor for one of the first Society of Women Engineers collegiate interest groups. Currently, she is the founding co-lead for the Community College Affinity Group and an advisor on the Society of Women Engineers Africa Advisory Board. She most possibly took this trait from her mother, who after her years in the teaching profession in Nigeria, ventured into politics and became the deputy governor of her state, late Chief Mrs. Cecilia Ekpenyong.
How I wish her mother were to be alive. Incidentally, her mother was the deputy governor of Cross River State, late Chief Mrs. Cecilia Ekpenyong. That's Rose-Margaret's mother. And of course, you know, she was a principal too. Principal, they called them. She was one of the best principals that we had, that grew up to become the national president or something of that of what they call anchors.
I think we should, let people like that come and introduce, what she's doing. I think also Nigeria should also start thinking in that direction. Look at AI, look at robotics, science and all that. For me, I'm not in the academic world. I'm a politician, but when I see people do what I'm unable to do, I always celebrate them. I'm very, very proud of her. I think it's good for Africa, and I'm proud that it's an African woman. We so celebrate it, and I'm very, very sure that it's good for Cross River State.
She clearly is proud of her African root and history, and at the slightest opportunity, eulogized the role the continent played in technological advancement from way back in history. She also loves her ethnic culture, which she's carried with her everywhere. She's won some laurels for her feats, some of which include the 2024 Marquis Top Engineers in the USA by Marquis Who Is Who, the 2023 Excellence in Engineering Award from EFIC USA, the 2022 Distinguished Engineering Educator Award from the Society for Women Engineers SWE globally, the 2022 Courage and Leadership Award from the Multicultural Women Executive Leadership Foundation USA, the May 2021 Faculty of the Month by Olin College. When she's not in class or in the laboratory, she is with her family, with whom she enjoys a huge bond, as she doesn't joke with family time. Professor Rose-Margaret Ekeng-Itua, the world's first black woman to earn a PhD in cybernetics and channels television's Amazing African.
Trust you find her story as inspiring as we do here. Please share your feedback with us through the addresses displaying on your screen. I am Kelly Egiga, and I'll see you again next time when we bring you another inspiring story of Africans making great strides here on the continent and all around the world. Bye now.